Joe Rogan has made it clear he sees the UFC's new multi-billion-dollar broadcast partnership with Paramount as a game-changing moment for the sport of mixed martial arts. The announcement of the $7.7 billion agreement sent shockwaves through the MMA community, with the deal ensuring that every numbered UFC event, plus all Fight Night cards, will stream live on Paramount Plus each year. On top of that, 4 special events annually are slated for CBS, offering the UFC an even broader mainstream TV presence. On the Joe Rogan Experience, the veteran UFC commentator broke down why he thinks this move could push MMA into an unprecedented growth phase. He called Paramount's strategy super smart, marveling at how accessible the product would become for fans. Using simple math to make his point, Rogan noted that a Paramount Plus subscription, at around $10 per month, comes to about $120 per year, which is less than the price of just 2 UFC pay-per-views under the traditional model. For Rogan, the fact that subscribers will be able to watch every UFC event without the steep pay-per-view price tag is incredible, and something that could cause the sport to go tech and hypernova. While praising the move, Rogan also expressed hope that UFC's relationship with ESPN stays intact, given how influential the network remains in the sports media landscape. His optimism on that front is backed by the fact that TKO Group Holdings, UFC's parent company, recently reached a deal with ESPN to carry WWE's premium live events in the US, a sign that the corporate ties between ESPN and TKO will likely keep UFC content visible on major platforms like SportsCenter. UFC CEO Dana White, in a separate appearance on Pardon My Take, addressed questions about Rogan's role in the new broadcast era. White reassured fans that Rogan will continue calling the majority of the UFC's marquee numbered events, though he acknowledged that Rogan's schedule has lightened in recent years due to his other commitments. In White's eyes, Rogan remains an integral part of the UFC's presentation, someone whose voice, experience, and energy have been woven into the sport's identity for decades. And with this Paramount deal poised to put UFC events in front of a wider audience than ever before, Rogan's enthusiastic stamp of approval feels like both a nod to the promotion's history and a signal that an even bigger stage lies ahead. Aaron Pico's entry into the UFC hasn't just brought hype for his in-cage skills. It's already stirred the pot with the reigning featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski. Set to face Lerone Murphy in the co-main event of UFC 319, Pico has confidently declared that he'll eventually be the man to dethrone Vulcganowski. Those comments quickly reached the champ, who didn't hesitate to fire back during an appearance on Fox Sports Australia. Vulcganowski acknowledged Pico's talent, highlighting his punching power and all-American wrestling credentials, but made it clear he sees himself as the superior fighter in every department, including wrestling. "What's the bet if we were to wrestle I'd embarrass him there anyway," Vulcganowski said. He predicted Pico might score 1 or 2 takedowns, but promised he'd bounce right back to his feet and break Pico's will to clinch. In the Aussie's view, Pico's only realistic shot is landing a fight-ending punch. Otherwise, I mop the floor with him. Pico, never one to shy away from a verbal exchange, responded during UFC 319 Media Day. While he acknowledged that Vulcganowski isn't an easy fight, he insisted the champ has never faced a wrestler of his caliber. "It would be 5 rounds, so I think I'm going to land a left hook or a right hand so I can put him out," Pico said, making it clear he believes he has both the tools and the toughness to end Volkanovski's reign. For now, though, Pico says his full focus is on Lerone Murphy, with the understanding that a statement win could fast-track him into a title shot. If that happens, this brewing war of words will only add extra electricity to the build-up. With Volkanovski's proven dominance and Pico's blend of elite wrestling and knockout power, their eventual clash could be one of the most compelling featherweight showdowns in years. UFC middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis isn't buying into the hype surrounding Khamzat Chimaevs' size ahead of their UFC 319 main event showdown this Saturday night. The South African title holder will put his belt on the line against Chimaev in what's shaping up to be a stylistic clash. Du Plessis, pressure striking and durability, versus Chimaev's relentless wrestling and suffocating control. While many expect Chimaev to bring a physical edge into the octagon, Du Plessis doesn't see it that way. The two crossed paths earlier in fight week, greeting each other with a handshake and a moment of professional calm. Still, the civility may not last long, with the UFC 319 press conference likely to fan the flames between champion and challenger. Speaking in a recent interview, Du Plessis shrugged off any talk of being outsized. "I don't give a how big he is. It's not what wins fights, but yeah, I saw him. He's definitely not bigger than me." Known for his fearless approach, Du Plessis has never shied away from a challenge, no matter the opponent's reputation or skill set. A win over Chimaev would not only cement his spot atop the division, but could also push him into conversations about the greatest middleweights in UFC history. With both men exuding confidence and a high-stakes title on the line, UFC 319's main event is poised to deliver fireworks, regardless of who's the bigger man on fight night. BKFC is bringing its brand of all-out chaos to New Jersey for the first time this fall, and the inaugural trip will feature a fittingly violent headliner. On the Ariel Helwani Show, August 13th, BKFC President David Feldman confirmed that Mike Perry will defend his King of Violence title against fellow UFC veteran Jeremy Stephens in the main event of BKFC 82 on October 4th. Originally, the promotion aimed to book Perry against Darren Till, but negotiations fell through. Robbie Lawler was also floated as a potential opponent, though contractual ties to the UFC following his retirement kept that matchup from happening. For Perry, this will be his first BKFC appearance since his blistering one-minute demolition of Thiago Alves at Knucklemania IV in April 2024. He later stepped into a boxing ring in July to face Jake Paul, ultimately falling via 6th-round TKO. Since then, Perry has also made headlines for a public back-and-forth with BKFC part owner Conor McGregor. Stephens enters the bout riding momentum from his own BKFC success, having finished Eddie Alvarez at Knucklemania V in January. He briefly returned to MMA this May, engaging in a wild fight against Mason Jones at UFC Des Moines, where he dropped the decision but added another high-paced war to his resume. With two proven brawlers sharing the ring at the Prudential Center in Newark, fans can expect a no-frills slugfest for BKFC 82's King of Violence crown, exactly the kind of spectacle the title's name promises. Khamzat Chimaev, the undefeated UFC middleweight contender, is reportedly unwell ahead of his highly anticipated title fight against Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319. According to a recent post by the YouTube channel Casual MMA, sources have informed them that Chimaev is sick and even had to put on a jacket during media day after experiencing chills. This news comes amid Chimaev's rigorous training camp, during which he has been taking precautions to avoid illness. Earlier this week, he shared on social media that he has been staying indoors to minimize exposure to potential sickness, stating, "I have to be ready, don't get sick. That's why I'm just saying to the people, don't come to me." Chimaev's commitment to his health and preparation for the upcoming fight underscores the challenges athletes face in maintaining peak performance, especially when unexpected health issues arise. Fans and analysts alike will be closely monitoring his condition as the event approaches. The Professional Fighters League will host a major championship event in Dubai on October 3rd at the Coca-Cola Arena. Titled PFL Champion Series, Road to Dubai, the rematch, the card features two title fights, highlighted by Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes and Corey Anderson versus Dovlet Yagshimuradov. Undefeated lightweight champion Usman Nurmagomedov will defend his title against Paul Hughes, who previously lost a close decision to Nurmagomedov in January. Hughes returned in May with a 42-second knockout over Bruno Miranda and has called for the rematch. Known for his technical control, Nurmagomedov has notable wins over Patricky Pitbull and Benson Henderson, and will look to reaffirm his dominance in one of MMA's most competitive divisions. Former Bellator light heavyweight champion Corey Anderson faces PFL light heavyweight champion Dovlet Shomurodov in a rematch of their 2021 Bellator encounter, which Anderson won by third-round stoppage. Anderson has since added the Bellator title and a win over 2024 PFL heavyweight champion Denis Goltsov, while Shomurodov has gone unbeaten in 7 fights, capturing the PFL light heavyweight belt against Impa Kasanganay. The undercard includes an undefeated heavyweight clash between Puya Romani and Slim Trabelsi, a long-delayed 165-pound bout between Zubaira Tukhugov and Artem Lobov, and a welterweight fight featuring 2024 PFL MENA champion Omar El Dafraoui versus PFL Europe champion Florim Zendelli, with both entering unbeaten. The event is part of the PFL's Road to Dubai initiative, run with the Dubai Sports Council and Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism, culminating in the Road to Dubai finale in January 2025. PFL CEO John Martin highlighted the significance of hosting 2 championship fights in Dubai, underscoring the city's rise as a global MMA hub and the PFL's role in delivering top-tier competition. Shawn Strickland's latest run-in with controversy came when the Nevada Commission handed him a suspension for a chaotic scene in June, during which he stormed into the cage in pursuit of a fighter who had taunted him. At the time, Strickland wasn't competing. He was serving as a corner for Miles Hunsinger, a fighter he coaches, but when Hunsinger's opponent Luis Hernandez began mocking him after the fight, Strickland's temper flared. Without hesitation, he stepped through the barrier and moved directly toward Hernandez, closing the distance in a way that suggested the confrontation could turn physical before officials quickly intervened. The moment, caught on camera, spread quickly online, adding to the already colorful reputation Strickland has built over the years. Krzysztof Jotko, a former UFC middleweight who had faced Strickland in the Octagon, was asked about the incident while doing media ahead of his own fight at Octagon 74. Speaking on Boke's Talking Bouts, Jotko explained that his memories of fighting Strickland were complicated by the fact that he wasn't in peak condition for their bout. He revealed he was dealing with a severe stomach illness at the time, something far beyond a mild setback. He had been vomiting frequently, struggling with acid reflux, and unable to eat properly in the lead-up, which left him feeling far from his best on fight night. Even so, he went the distance with Strickland and lost by decision, noting that, while it wasn't the result he wanted, he took some pride in the fact that he avoided the fate of several other fighters Strickland had stopped inside the distance. Not long after their fight, their paths crossed again in a different context. Strickland came to train at Jotko's gym in preparation for his high-profile clash with Alex Pereira. There, Strickland worked with Artem Levin, a decorated kickboxer and former Glory champion known for having beaten Pereira twice. Jotko remembered these sessions well, describing Strickland as being just as unfiltered and offbeat in person as he is in his social media posts and interviews. According to Jotko, what Strickland says online isn't an act, it's a genuine reflection of who he is. When asked about the June cage-storming incident, Jotko said it didn't shock him in the least. In his eyes, Strickland is the kind of fighter who thrives on confrontation, and if someone crosses the line, whether with words, gestures, or something as crude as the alleged obscene gesture made toward him that night, he's likely to respond without much hesitation. Jotko did agree with the Nevada Commission's decision to suspend him, stressing that professional fighters can't simply break the barrier between themselves and others during a live event, especially with cameras rolling and the sport's image at stake. At the same time, he couldn't help but find humor in the way Strickland approached the incident. He described watching him get up and walk toward Hernandez in a way that looked oddly stiff, almost like an old man with an aching leg, a detail that even UFC lightweight Renato Moicano highlighted in his own comedic retelling on his podcast. Jotko laughed as he recalled it, saying that while the suspension was justified, the moment itself, both in its absurdity and in Strickland's unmistakable mannerisms, was undeniably funny and perfectly in line with the unpredictable personality he's come to know. Mark Hume believes fans are in for something special when Dricus Du Plessis defends his UFC middleweight title against Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319, and he isn't just hyping his teammate for the sake of promotion. Hume, who has been in the trenches with DDP at Team CIT for years, says the champion has leveled up in ways that go beyond the usual fight camp grind. According to him, Du Plessis has approached this preparation with a more methodical, almost surgical precision, focusing on a scientific approach to training that sharpens his physical attributes while also fine-tuning his strategy. The result, Hume insists, is a DDP 2.0, a more explosive, better conditioned, and tactically smarter version of the man who outpointed Shawn Strickland to capture the belt earlier this year. He predicts that when the Octagon door closes in Chicago, the crowd will witness fireworks, and that the belt is coming back to South Africa once again. Hume also shed light on why fighters from Team CIT consistently punch above their weight in the global MMA scene. He credits the team's strong coaching staff, the close brotherhood between training partners, and a collective mindset rooted in South Africa's rougher edges. In his eyes, it's more than just discipline or work ethic. It's a kind of ingrained hardness that comes from growing up in a place where confrontations were part of the social fabric. He paints a picture of a country where, if you weren't home by 10 p.m., you might end up in a fight, where toughness wasn't optional but part of surviving adolescence. That background, Hume says, creates fighters who are not only technically capable but mentally conditioned to thrive in chaotic, high-pressure moments. Going into UFC 319, this combination of modernized, data-driven preparation and deep-seated fighting instinct could be exactly what DDP needs against Chimaev, a relentless, unbeaten contender whose own reputation is built on overwhelming opponents. Hume's conviction is clear. This isn't just about defending a title, it's about showing the world a champion who has evolved in real time, one who can blend calculated precision with that raw, unshakable, South African grit. If Hume's prediction holds true, Du Plessis won't just keep his belt, he'll cement his status as one of the most dangerous, adaptable champions in the sport today. The feud between Charles Olivera and Dan Hooker continues, as Hooker has fired back at Oliveira's recent claims. Last week, the UFC announced that former lightweight champion Olivera will return in October to headline UFC Rio against Rafael Fiziev, surprising fans considering his recent knockout loss to Ilia Topuria at UFC 317. Concerns have also been raised by UFC legend Daniel Cormier, who noted that the quick turnaround could be risky for Olivera given the severity of his last defeat. Olivera previously stated that he struggled to find an opponent, claiming ranked lightweight Dan Hooker turned down the fight. Hooker, however, strongly denied this and mocked Olivera's claim, questioning why he would turn down a fight against someone who appeared semi-conscious after his last bout. "You really think that's how that phone call went? Do you want to fight semi-conscious Charles Olivera?" Hooker told UFC on Sky. "I was never offered that fight. I require medical clearance and was not medically cleared for October. Now I don't know if he could give me Dr. Doolittle's number or whatever veterinary clinic he went to sign off his brain, because if he put his brain, it would still be mashed potatoes in an MRI machine." Despite the criticism and recent setbacks, Olivera has consistently proven doubters wrong throughout his career, overcoming early struggles in the UFC to ultimately win the lightweight title. Ahead of UFC Rio, Olivera sent a message to anyone questioning him, saying, "A wounded lion is still a lion," demonstrating his confidence and determination to return to the top, despite the criticism and the controversy surrounding his quick comeback. His resolve will now be tested as he prepares for the fight against Rafael Fiziev, with fans and critics alike watching to see if he can silence the skeptics once again. Israel Adesanya is gearing up for a highly anticipated return to the Octagon after a rare three-fight skid that knocked him out of the middleweight title picture for the first time in his UFC career. The former champion has made it clear that he is interested in facing either Paulo Costa or Shawn Strickland, creating two potential blockbuster matchups that could reignite his career. Adesanya told Sunsport, "I'm ready to go. Costa sounds fun. Give him the chance at redemption like people have done for me. And Strickland, if he wants to fight, sure. His openness to these fights shows that he's focused on reclaiming his position among the division's elite. Before returning to intense fight preparation, Adesanya took some time to recharge both mentally and physically. For his 36th birthday, he traveled to Tahiti to swim alongside migrating humpback whales, an experience he described as unforgettable and awe-inspiring. "That was a crazy experience, like swimming next to a giant mammal. That's why I got this scar. Funny story, just check before you dive, man. Listen, just look before you dive," he revealed in a recent YouTube video. This adventure reflects Adesanya's penchant for pursuing unique experiences outside the cage while maintaining focus on his MMA career. Now back in fighting mode, Adesanya is carefully weighing his options in the crowded middleweight division. Shawn Strickland, who defeated him in 2023 to claim the middleweight championship, represents one of the most marketable and compelling matchups he could pursue. Meanwhile, Paulo Costa is also looking to climb back into title contention following a win over Roman Kopylov at UFC 318. Both fights promise high drama and intrigue for fans, but Adesanya's star power ensures that whichever opponent he chooses will generate massive interest and potentially reshape the division's landscape. His return isn't just about redemption, it's about making a statement and asserting himself as a top contender in a division brimming with talent.